Back in 2014, I bought this really stupid little cardboard slate that had 3 codes on it for Payday 2 and its 2 DLCs. After installing it and playing it for a bit, I got so hooked that I bought it for 3 of my friends so they could play with me too. I still have people on my playlist from the Payday 2 days when I would go out and play with randoms. I mean, I don't talk to them anymore, but they're still there. Ever since that day in 2014, I have been chasing this feeling that I got while playing Payday 2. Back before there were 79 DLCs, back before they were offering a subscription service for it, where all you were doing was trying to get the best attachments for your gun and maybe some customization options for your masks. The last time I booted up Payday 2, honestly, I was completely lost on what was going on. Maybe it's the boomer part of my brain just trying to activate now, or maybe there is an insane amount of content that is way too much for somebody to understand when they first jump in. Whatever the case, the first time I booted up this game, I wasn't expecting that Payday 2 feeling. But by the time I was done with my first session, it had triggered something in my brain. A familiar feeling of change, distantly screaming that the drill was broken. Forget Payday 3. Jump Space is the new successor to Payday 2. Jump Space is a sci-fi PvE game where a crew of 4 hop on a beat-up ship and take the fight to a bunch of robots that have driven their species to the edge of extinction. With the help of an ancient AI named Iris, there's a glimmer of hope in the distance. I kind of want to do that lame, overdone joke where I cut the screen to black and act like that's the entire review, but I'm restraining myself, I guess. Please thank me later. So the major hook in Jump Space is that when you're actually in a mission, transitioning from the interior of your ship to the exterior is completely seamless with no loading screens. If you're launching yourself onto an enemy ship and you're trying to disable it or make it self-destruct, again, no loading screens. Moving between your ship and an installation or a planet or anything like that, 0 loading screens. It is all seamless. Now, before you get a little too excited, it's not like Starfield, okay, where you're going to be exploring entire planets and massive areas and massive maps. Currently, there's small maps with limited content, but that is kind of like the big selling point of the game. It's not just seamless transitions though. You launch yourself from this ship with like these little torpedo bays designed to send you into the void of space. You have grappling hooks that allow you to latch onto grapple points. It's all really fast and fluid and has this great sort of feeling to it as you're moving around the map. I was actually expecting a more arcadey type feel to the gameplay, but there's actually some really fun like simulator stuff when it comes to the ship. When you're playing and you start up the tutorial, it involves you getting this really beat up ship that has crash landed into an asteroid up to snuff. It's a bit lackluster as far as tutorials go. It is early access after all, but it does teach you that you can pull out components for the ship and how to replace them once you find them in the field. After you rip out a component and replace it with a new one, you actually have to go to the reactor on your ship and solve this puzzle to fit all these different components in to the power grid. If you can't do that, the components don't power and you can't use them. Further, as your ship takes damage, you actually have to carry these like shield charges around and run out onto the hull of the ship and resupply your shield. As your hull takes damage, fire erupts both on the inside and the outside of the ship, and you have to use fire extinguishers, thankfully positioned regularly throughout the ship, to douse the flames. Oh, and then finally, when you're on the hull of the ship, you can actually use like rockets, railguns, basically any weapon, but those are the fun ones, to fire at enemy ships. So it's not just the pilot and the gunner killing enemy ships. There's also stuff like engineering where you have to run around, refill ammo, stuff like that too. So that's a little bit of the simulator thing that I was talking about. Now, you might be wondering, where do you get all this stuff? Well, another cool feature is that there's a scrapper and salvager on the ship. As you explore wrecks or destroy enemy ships, you pick up stuff called materia. You collect these canisters from the outside of your ship, sending them to the cargo bay and then dumping them into your scrapper. From there, you can craft a ton of stuff using the materia that you scrapped. Ammo kits for your better weapons, ammo for your ship, very important. The shield repair kits, also important. Ship repair kits, also important. And even slightly better weapons like an SMG or a rocket launcher. I'm assuming you get better recipes later on, but my friend and I haven't gotten that far. Oh, and speaking of, just this is something I figured out. When you're done with a mission, if you want to keep the gun that you found or an item that you found, just keep it in your limited inventory. You'll spawn into the hub with the items, letting you carry them from mission to mission. And I do mean limited inventory. You have 4 spaces, but one is taken up by your multi-tool, so really you have 3 inventory slots. Use them wisely. Right, the hub. Because this is early access, there's not a lot to do right now. However, I am fairly certain this soccer ball is a Destiny 2 reference, back before Bungie started deleting all the content from their game. You've got 5 different NPCs in the hub. Barrett, Boz, Vosk, Buddy, and Iris. Barrett is like your main quest giver. She also allows you to customize your ship or swap out different types of ships, that sort of thing, because of course there are different ships that you can find. Iris also does main quest duty alongside Barrett. However, she also tells you where to go to continue the storyline from the main map. Buddy, while also filling in the position of a crew member, gives you quests as well. However, his real importance is going on missions with you. If you're on foot, he'll actually engage in combat, or you can use him to send stuff back to the ship for you. When you're in space and you're in combat, he'll actually hop on the turret and start shooting at enemies, and he's really good at that. He'll also do stuff like clear materia containers. However, I don't think he's good at that. I'm not sure if this is currently a bug or something that's going to be fixed in later versions, because like I said, this is early access. Sometimes he cleans out the materia containers, other times he says, I'll go clear the materia canisters. And then he doesn't. If you're playing with a friend or two, it seems like all Buddy does is turret duty, and that's it, which is fine. He also sometimes mans the bar for you too. I kind of left Boz and Vosk until the end because right now they don't really do a whole lot. In the next few patches, they will though. Boz allows you to customize your outfit, but you have to complete quests from other characters to get different pieces of it. Later on, he is going to sell stuff that you can take with you for other missions, but the issue is right now he just can't do that because the credit system isn't implemented. Bosk, besides giving you a few quests, will allow you to purchase artifacts for your next mission. However, once again, there's no credits, so all he does right now is get surprised when you walk up to him.
What? Oh, it's you.
If you do bring back weapons from your missions, you can actually go and test them out at the shooting gallery, which is right above Vosk. Finally, there's a crime.net map, sector map, that allows you to choose your next mission. I actually really like this feature because it separates easier quests from harder ones by sectors. To unlock additional sectors, you actually have to bring back map fragments, which are usually harder to get. And this opens up the harder sectors. Harder sectors have better component drop chances, new components even, and new ships. And, even better, different weapons you can pick up, including upgraded versions of your earlier weapons. When you're looking between missions, you're given the final objective and the amount of jumps it will take to get to said objective, usually between 3 and 8 jumps from what I've seen. There are various submissions between you and your goal, which can include breaking into a robot stronghold to steal whatever juicy loot that they have, cracking open a space station to steal said juicy loot, or just a regular fleet run where you have to break through a small contingent of robot ships to shut down their jump jammer. You move between these maps by choosing a jump alley on your map inside your ship and then pointing towards it and jumping. When you're jumping, you are completely immobile, so it's important that you know you're safe or you're risking taking a lot of damage. There's actually a mission I've run across once, and I wish I could come across it again, but you have to find these nuclear-powered batteries scattered across the map and deliver them to a specific point to open up a door. The nuclear batteries cause radiation sickness that, if it reaches its maximum, just kills you instantly. But when the batteries are on your ship, the radiation coming from them actually knocks out random power grids on your reactor. So you have to upgrade your reactor to get protected power areas, meaning that the radiation can't knock it out. That's a cool feature. I didn't realize that's how it worked because I'd be shooting my turret and then wondering, why can't I shoot for a few seconds? I'm not complaining, like I think that's a cool feature and I think it's something that you might want to consider before you do these missions. But I wish I kind of understood it before we took that mission and knew what we were getting into. The nuclear battery mission is really fun, and I hope I run into it a little bit more often. Finally, the difficulty of the mission determines the type of loot that you can find. It seems like there are different ranks of weapons you can find, with higher ranks dealing more damage, meaning you're better able to destroy enemies. This also goes for components. You can find higher ranks for components based on what I've seen. You can also find artifacts in the game, and I have to say I love how they treat artifacts. Like when you first find them, the game is just like, yeah, ignore these, they're kind of useless. Then you get a quest from Vosk, and suddenly these are the coolest things in the game. Are you carrying a pizza? Congrats, you get an extra 150% damage boost. Firing at enemy ships from the hull of your own ship? Guess what? 240% damage boost just for you. Are you getting filled with bullet holes from robot lasers? Well, don't worry, we'll patch those right up with friendly fire that restores 10 HP every time your ally shoots you. Artifacts are great and fun little additions that only last for your current mission. But any artifact you don't slot into your ship before you jump to the next map gets destroyed. So it's better to scrap them if they're not being used. That is, unless you find an artifact that makes it so your artifacts don't shatter when you jump, which is goofy, but kind of funny at the same time. There is a way to upgrade them. I actually have that mission from Vosk right now, but I haven't figured out how to quite do that yet. Now, I keep saying this is like Payday 2, and I know right now people are like, this doesn't sound anything like Payday 2. I promise, though, if you remove the stealth sections of Payday 2, where you're like casing a joint and trying to figure out what to do for the objective, if you just look at the combat, it's like Payday 2 in space, basically. When you're at the final objective in a mission, it's basically all combat. The one I've done the most involves breaking into a downed freighter and stealing loot from it. As you enter the system, you have to destroy enemy ships guarding the freighter, which are usually stronger than what you've faced in the entire run. It can leave your ship hurting, but you don't have time to repair it because the moment the ships are defeated, a reinforcement timer starts. You have to land and get inside the freighter immediately. Opening the doors to the freighter requires more than one crewmate, at least that's what it took with my friend and I, and opens the interior cargo bay, filled with bots. You can clear them out, but they will always keep spawning in waves. I found up to 3 waves can spawn before they stop. As you're fighting inside the cargo bay, Iris is tracking down the cargo containers to break into. When playing with a friend, as soon as Iris would find one, we'd both have to move to the container because it took 2 people to open. Then one person to carry the cargo while the other defended them from the bots. And I mentioned that they spawn in waves. If you do not clear the waves, it is a huge pain in the butt. It got really rough. I had to stop transferring cargo to take care of this massive amount of enemies that had built up. My friend, as soon as he finished taking the cargo back to the ship, helped me because there were so many. And it was like at that point when we're scrambling and we're desperate for ammo, shooting each other to heal, that's when it was really like, it just hit me that it was Payday 2. Every time we did this, it felt like we were back at Harvest and Trusty in Payday 2, fighting off wave after wave of enemy as we desperately cleared drill jams to get the cash we needed. The only difference is there is no wave cooldown. Sure, enemies disappear for like maybe 30 seconds, I think, but there wasn't somebody on the radio going like, okay, they're pulling back, they're getting ready to regroup, you know, that sort of thing. It's all breakneck combat from start to finish as you're rushing to get out of the area before more enemy ships show up to rip you to shreds. And it works so well. By the time my friend and I were done, we barely managed to jump out of the system. Sometimes, when we were really, really desperate, we barely escaped by the skin of our teeth as enemies were blasting us to bits as we tried to jump out. I I love it. I love every single second of this game, and I don't think I'll be able to stop playing it for a bit. It kind of sucks, right? Because like I feel like Jump Ship would be a game that everyone is talking about right now if it didn't release in such a busy season. Like, I mean, if we're talking about last month alone, September, we had Silk Song, Pigface, Chrono Gear, Baby Steps. Yes, I am looking at a list of these. Chronos New Dawn, Borderlands, Slime Rancher 2, and Silent Hill F. Oh, and I almost forgot the sleeper hit, Mega Bonk. Now, they're bookended by an October release field that is just as busy with Battlefield, Digimon Story, the Vampire Masquerade game, whatever that subtitle is, and The Outer Worlds 2. And believe it or not, I just listed less than 1/3 of all games coming out those 2 months. This is a game that I feel like deserves a lot of love and support. You may not have even heard of it, but hopefully after watching this video, you're interested in picking up Jump Space and finding a crew. And if Keepsake ends up watching this, you guys made a banger of a game. I absolutely recommend Jump Space. It is a great game, even in early access, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next week. Probably. Should I say I'm streaming on Twitch, by the way? Twitch.tv/RandallThughes. Feel free to catch me most days. Catch you guys later.